Alright, so in this video, I'm actually kind of excited to show you this because this is one of my favorite things to teach because it's actually really simple and I don't know why, I just like them, but anyway, radical equations. What that means is that it has a square root. So, what you want to do, get the radical by itself. Okay, that means that there should be nothing else on this side of the equal sign besides that square root. Okay, so on every single problem here, what you want to do, you want to get just whatever's underneath the square root by itself. Okay, so that minus 3 needs to be gone. This 4, since it's being multiplied by that square root, needs to be gone. There's nothing here that needs to be taken away. But here, that minus 6, it's on the same side as the radical. So it hasn't been isolated. You'd want to get rid of this. The minus 13 needs to be taken care of. That 5 needs to go away, and so does that plus 13. So that's one of the reasons why these are so easy. You just have to get it by itself. Okay, the next step, you square both sides. What this does is get rid of the square root. Okay, and then you solve it just like you've been doing since 8th grade. So here's our first example. Like I said, first step, get that radical by itself. So that means here's your radical, here's what's underneath it, and then here's that minus 3. So get rid of the minus 3. So what you're going to want to do, you're going to want to add 3 to both sides. What that's going to do is get rid of that minus 3. So now you have square root of x minus 5 equals 10. So this takes us to our second step, which is square both sides. Okay, what that does is get rid of the square root altogether. So now you have x minus 5 equals 100. Okay, solve this like you normally would. Get rid of that minus 5 by adding 5 to both sides, and you get x equals 105. Alright, so you've got an answer. Alright, it's extremely important to check it. So what you'd want to do, instead of having that x there, you're going to want to replace it with 105. And you can type this straight into the calculator. What you would get is 7, and we should have equaled 7 since that's what it said. Okay, and that's how you check. You just plug that straight in the calculator. So example 2. Start off by getting your radical by itself. So that means you gotta get rid of that 4. Since it's multiplication, you want to do multiplication through division. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 44 divided by 4 is 11. Now the second step, okay, which is square both sides. You're going to want to do that because it gets rid of the radical. Alright? To solve this, you're trying to get x by itself, so you'd want to add 11 to both sides. And then you'd want to divide by 3. Okay, this would tell us that x equals 44. Okay, the last thing that you'd want to do is actually plug this back in to make sure that it works. So wherever you see an x in the original part, you'd want to put in a 44. If you type this part straight into the calculator, you would get 44. And since that's what we see right here, we would be correct. Alright? I'm not going to work this one all the way out, but I want you to notice that you wouldn't have to do anything to isolate the radical because there's nothing else on that side. So you would immediately jump to the second step, which is squaring both sides. Alright? And then I'm going to do one more, which is kind of multi-step. What you'd want to do here, you'd still want to isolate your radical, and so you notice that you have two things you got to get rid of. You got to get rid of this 13, you got to get rid of this 5. What you want to do is get rid of addition and subtraction first. So, first step, subtract 13. Alright? After that, what you'd want to do is get rid of the 5. So divide by 5 after that. Alright. Then, now that we have our radical by itself, then you would want to square both sides. Alright? And that would mean that your x value, if we finish this off by adding 1 to both sides, you would figure out that your x value is 17. Alright? And you'd want to plug this back into the original thing. You just want to replace your x value with a 17. And you'd want to make sure that you get 33. You do? So your correct answer is 17.